Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to it's Monday. Goodness, about 11:08 a.m. here, California time, June 3rd, 2024. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D Globe shows some movement into the California area with a 1.7 there in Northern California, also a 3-pointer. Somewhere out here, looks like South America there in the red flag. Now, I think I called that last night, didn't I? A big earthquake swarm out there in Kilauea Volcano. It's off the chart. Literally hundreds of earthquakes leading up to the current eruption. That's right. The Kilauea volcano is currently erupting just south here of the caldera, as called for last night. I kind of mentioned keep an eye on this area. And it roughly kicked up about 12 in the morning local time there to Hawaii. Let's go ahead and read some information here. By the way, it's currently at a warning. It is currently at warning and red here in terms of aviation color code. It is Monday, so yes. I got how many excuses do I have? Maybe 2 more left? All right. The volcano's erupting. A new eruption here began at 12:30 a.m. Hawaii time, likely about a mile south of the Kilauea caldera. Now, I did bring up this map here. Let me show you guys exactly where it's at. That earthquake swarm really kicking up here last night, just about in this area. It looks as though it finally broke through the surface here between the 1971 vents and the 1974 fissure vents out here back in those years. It was obviously been building here for quite a while. And, that earthquake swarm, when I went to bed, I said to myself, this is going to pop before morning time. And literally just hours, after going to bed and after producing that update video, things really kicked up out here. So that's the current location. I was just looking for any photos that the USGS has put up here. And I've been holding off on doing the update this morning because I've been waiting for them to do some type of update in terms of photography. And I don't see anything yet. They haven't got to it. I was checking out the webcams here and see if I can bring up that webcam. Where is it at? Right here. Let me refresh this, make sure we got the most recent data. Obviously not at the summit area, but it's off to the south. There's a little bit of the volcanic gases that you can see right here on the horizon. And right here as well, you can barely see where the eruptive activity is taking place. I'm hoping they will come out, get some photos, be able to share it here with the public, and then we'll have, some awesome views to see, hopefully. But it's in a weird location out there, away from the summit, and there's really not a whole lot of cameras that can zoom into this area. So hopefully they get some folks out there. I'd be out there first thing in the morning, getting some awesome images there. I mean, it's 8 o'clock there local time. At least that's what these images here are showing. But pretty crazy. Goodness. So let's see. Let's go back here to the update. According to the USGS, they raised the volcano hazard level, of course, because of uncertainty still at this present time. Glow is visible in the webcam imagery, indicating that lava is currently erupting from fissures. Goodness. The most recent eruption in this region was during the 1974 eruption, which only lasted about 6 hours. I think we're going to see a little bit more than that, though. But it's not possible at this moment to say exactly how long the eruption will last. The HVO continues to closely monitor Kilauea for signs of increasing or decreasing activity. Should volcanic activity change significantly, a new volcanic activity notice will be issued. So there you have it. I'm hoping for some better views. There's still obviously some concerns of maybe seeing, aside from the hazard analysis here, this is talking about the SO2, CO2, H2O volcanic gases out here. That looks like it could be a concern for citizens downwind. But, there's still uncertainty onto stability or instability around the caldera region. They mentioned right here other significant hazards also remain around the Kilauea caldera. From the crater area wall, instability, ground cracking, and rock falls that can be enhanced by earthquakes within the area closed to the public. So that area has been closed since about 2008. And of course, there's always, maybe some potential of seeing some further larger activity taking place out here. Right now, earthquake activity looks like it has, obviously come to a halt in terms of seeing that significant movement, but there's a lot going on up here. There's been a lot of magma intrusion and inflation here across the summit area. And of course, back in February, we've seen a huge displacement of magma off to the southwest rift zone that has since built back and leading up to our current eruption. Let me go check out the again, that's where they believe the approximate location of the fissures that began this morning in this location right here. I want to check out the deformation data out here and see what's going on across the area. This tells us, what's going on in terms of inflation. When we seen this stirring up last night and all that earthquake activity, I knew it was coming. And sure enough, it hit right. It hit a little bit more to the west than what I was expecting. I did say just south of the caldera, or south of the crater area, south of the summit area. And yeah. But looking at this graph here, we've seen, I don't know how current this is up to the time frame, but we've only seen a little bit of depletion. Only about maybe not even a month's worth of volume out here, because this is a month time period in terms of the inflation, and we've been going up and up and up since 2018. And more recently, this little magma displacement here, this magma intrusion that took place off in the southwest rift zone without any eruption, that's seen a huge drop right back in February, but we've been since climbing up. So I'm kind of curious to see if this is going to be a long duration event, maybe just a temporary eruption at the surface levels. But again, this, if we're going to deplete the area, we need to see this significantly drop. Otherwise, we could see another eruption or another fissure open up somewhere away from the current ongoing activity. So it's going to be important here to watch this data as it comes in. Like I said, I don't know exactly when this specifically was updated. 0741, there we go. So this is going to be Pacific Honolulu time. So what time is it there right now? About 8 o'clock, right? If I remember right, some 8:17 in the morning. So this is pretty recent. So that's really not a huge significant drop of the total volume of inflation that's been going on there across that area. Yes, it's obviously visible, and we're losing volume, but that's we're still way up there. That's not even a month's worth of volume yet that's been depleted. So we'll continue to watch that. I'm hoping these guys put out some images today. When they do, they haven't even put out a news article on it. All news releases shows 60 years of data shows shifts in the winter ranges of 3 duck species in the Midwest. That was put out today, but really nothing in terms of anything for what we want to see. You click on photos and whatnot. This is from back in May. Let's check out the seismograph stations here and see what it looked like. I bet you it's chaotic looking. Well, this was last night. Remember, stirring up like crazy, hundreds of earthquakes. It has since died down. That's because we're losing the pressure below, but also the magma has found a way to the surface now with that fissure that has opened up there just southwest of the caldera, or southwest of the summit area. But we'll continue to watch it and monitor it. But that's quite crazy. Let's see what we got for a total amount of earthquakes out here. And this is just the ones that they're reporting. 300. Woo! Last one about 8 o'clock. This is my time, California time here. The USGS page is matching my time frame. It'd be different in other time zones, but this is local time, my time here in California. And yeah, so this is probably the area right about here, and we'll continue to watch that. All this activity stirring up there across Kilauea volcano following a series of events here in the last couple days in terms of earthquake activity. We've seen a tremendous amount of movement here across the western area of the Pacific Plate, and some oddball earthquakes all around the area here in the North American Plate. Looks like they removed a few that was up here. I don't know why. Maybe it was this one, 4.3. But we've seen some interesting movement, a lot of movement out here across the western Pacific, and of course what goes on across this Pacific Plate anywhere adjusts accordingly across the hot spot, right? Because that's how Hawaii has been formed, from the plate moving over this hot spot here. You can see the old former Hawaii Islands out here, been eroded over time to where we're at right now. And of course we'll continue to make new islands throughout time, lots and lots of time. Who knows what life will be like millions of years in the future? I don't even know if we'll be here. But look at this activity right here, stirring up a little bit of movement south towards the Loihi Seamount. Most of that's pretty deep, though, about 33, 38 kilometers. One there, fairly shallow, 6 kilometers closer to this area. So a very dynamic situation. We'll continue to watch it. We're nowhere near depleted in terms of the inflation out here across the area. So we got to watch this closely. I don't think we're done yet. All right, earthquake activity. What do we got down here in New Zealand? 4.9 earthquake right at the northern end here of the Hikurangi subduction zone. Maybe within that little segment here where it transfers over. There's a little strike slip boundary here, subduction zone south, subduction zone north here. That's the Kermadec Trench. This is the Hikurangi subduction zone. So we're getting some interesting activity down here. New Zealand's seen a lot of deep activity here recently, and it does look like things want to adjust down here across this area. And of course, this region very capable of producing some megaquakes, and it's been a while. It's been quite a while since they've seen any significant megaquake activity. So we'll continue to watch that. California, goodness, still got quite a bit going on out here in California, I see. Been watching a couple different locations here around the Bay Area, the Hayward Fault. Looks like we've seen at least one more earthquake here over on the Calaveras Fault this morning. This one here on the Hayward Fault, or just off the Hayward Fault, is from yesterday. Some scattered activity just off the coast here of Northern California into the Gorda Plate, 2.7 and a 2.9, just shy here of the Cascadia subduction zone. Another megaquake waiting to happen. Some earthquake activity throughout the Pacific Northwest. Really nothing big going on here. A handful of smaller quakes across the area. Further down into Southern California, lighten up a little bit here around the Long Valley supervolcano with a 2-pointer and a couple other smaller quakes out here just outside the Ridgecrest area. Southern California here, not really seeing any major swarming going on, but a handful of earthquakes out here, mainly ones. Let's see what we got here for 2.5 and above. Still seeing a little bit of activity out here. As a 2.5 late last night. 2.8 near Big Pine off of the Owens Valley fault system. So we'll continue to watch the activity out here across California. I'm going to leave up the earthquake watch here for now because there's been a lot of adjustment going on here recently and a lot going on below the surface areas as well. Yellowstone National Park, really not seeing anything showing up there, but let's just double check. See what we have. Recording, audio good, bells off. Looks like we're good. What's going on with this station here? Are we working? Oh, wait a minute. I got to click this one, which I did, but it's not working. That website has seen some, I don't know, getting some weird activity with that website recently, so won't worry about that for now, but we'll check back here a little bit later. I'm not seeing anything showing up here, at least on the USGS map. For now, there's a new measured seismic zone. Still getting some earthquake activity out here, 2.0 and a 1.4. And looks like we had one more earthquake out here in New Jersey at 1.6. Very small quake. But overall, things have been quite active globally out here in terms of earthquake movement and volcanic activity. Puerto Rico area seen a handful of quakes and a couple right there on the Puerto Rico Trench itself. This whole area is another dangerous zone here in terms of earthquake potential. Got one earthquake out in the northern mid-Atlantic ridge. It's going to be a 5.9 just before midnight my time here. And as far as most recent activity here across the western areas of the Pacific Plate and adjacent regions here, got a 4.6 off the coast here of Pakistan. Philippines area seeing a 4-pointer, 4.9 around the Philippines as well. A lot of this other activity from yesterday, it looks like, aside from the movement down south here into New Zealand. 4.9. Let me go over and check out the New Zealand site, see what's going on here from the GeoNet servers, which is, I don't know where they're, oh, right here. I need to add, I wonder if I can add a secondary bookmark toolbar up here. Never thought about that. I think I need to add probably 10 of them. 4.1 just on the plate boundary here between South and North Island. There's that 4.8 being reported. Showed up pretty nicely here on the North Island stations. And of course, as you get closer to South Island down here, that's where the other earthquake struck here on the plate boundary. But yeah, definitely a handful of earthquakes out here, and it's a region that we need to watch here for some further movement. Things are definitely appear to be in play right now in terms of producing some larger activity. So we'll continue to watch that. I'll wait for the USGS to pop up some imagery, hopefully. The rest of the region, let's go check out Iceland, see what's going on up there across that volcano. That's a another active region here. Last night we checked this and there was at least 2 active vents out here. Let's see what this one looks like. Still see one good one over here. Ah, there we go. That one's fountaining as well. So it looks like consistent activity up here. Of course, not as active in terms of the volume being produced here from these craters when it originally began here days ago. But still quite active there across this area of Iceland. And let's see what we got for any earthquake activity. Got about 122 earthquakes out here. A little separate swarm well northeast of the Grindavik area around this region. That's kind of interesting looking. Of course, this whole thing is a rift zone, so quite active out there. This area of interest right now, just free flow of magma to the surface. And I'm going to watch this because we could see this thing continue for weeks on end, or we could see it just drain up, dry up, and disappear. And the key to watching that is going to be the inflation charts. Seeing if it's going up while the eruption is continuing. Similar to what we've seen, back in March. When we've seen that eruption take place there, we've seen a huge drop, obviously, but at the same time, during that eruption, we continued to stay inflated and continued to see magma underneath this area. Most recent imagery here, though, shows that we're continuing to go down. So this one could be a little different than the last previous eruption. We'll have to watch that. But most of the models here, these run times are showing continued downward trend. All right, let's check out space weather activity. We did see a couple M flares overnight. Nothing big. Our last X flare a couple days ago. But I'm seeing a couple rapid M flares being produced here overnight. It looks like maybe we'll see a G1 class storm here coming up on the June 4th time period between 1821 and 2100. Right now it is June 3rd at about 1828 UTC time. So technically we're looking at this sometime tomorrow about this time, which wouldn't be a prime time in terms of seeing the auroras here on the North American side of the plate, or North American side here of the Earth. But we'll watch it. I don't think it's going to be anything of noteworthy value, though. Looks like there was a plasma eruption there, which measured a M4.8, 3691 and 3695 in the northwestern quadrant. That's crazy looking. So that probably came from this sunspot up here. I wonder if we got, see if we can spot that. Not in that image. Nice shot, though. So let's see here. 3691, that's going to be this area up here. It doesn't look all that complex, but it's a massive region in itself. That's the area that produced a little bit of that plasma eruption, but really not that big of a deal up there. Here's our current sunspot that we need to watch, though. It's still got quite a bit of intermixing of the cores, but overall it looks like it may be shrinking a little bit in terms of the complexity. But this is, of course, the region that has produced numerous X flares on this side of the sun. And while it was last time out here back in early May, it's holding on. But it does look like there's a little bit of weakening going on here, but I still think we got potential of seeing some strong flare activity here with this close proximity of the magnetic structure in that sunspot. And that's directly facing Earth, as you can see. So anything that does blast off here will be geo-effective. It's just got to do it soon if it's gonna happen. 35% chance for an X flare right now, 75% chance for M flare, C flare at 99% certainty. And we'll watch this. Again, not expecting much. This isn't a huge aurora maker, like we seen back in May, where that historic aurora event took place. That was a G5 class storm, so that was pretty crazy. This one here only a G1, and be lucky if we see anything up there, if it even hits us. All right, weather outlook here today does show a fairly large region of a slight risk for some severe weather. Now there is a little 5% tornado risk out here across southwest Oklahoma and portions of Texas here as well. That includes Wichita Falls, Lawton, and these other areas here mentioned. But also there's a 2% that extends further out and about, and that includes Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Plano, and the Madison, Wisconsin area way up north here. Other threats include some wind and some damaging hail across this area in the hatch zone. So just a heads up, if you're out and about today, watch out for some severe weather. Tomorrow that brings the threat further north with a 2% chance for tornado activity, some wind and some hail threats out there as well. So let me go back here and double check the USGS map here, see if they got, it looks like they just lowered it from the red back down to an orange. Just happened, it looks like. They haven't even changed it on the site yet, unless they haven't changed it on the main one, because it's still showing red. Let's see. Did they put out another update? Oh yeah, they did, huh? All right, so they put stuff back down here. This is the latest update that was produced literally a few minutes ago while we were doing this update. So the volcano is erupting. The eruption is currently ongoing, but is taking place in a remote location within the national park. Is low in eruptive volume. That's why we're not seeing a huge relief in the term of inflation that's going on there on those charts. It does not pose an immediate threat to human life or critical infrastructure. So they're lowering that back down a level due to the remote location. The primary hazards at this time are airborne hazards related to, of course, the volcanic gas emissions. So, hopefully they get some pictures. I want to see some pictures out here. I mean, somebody's got to have a drone, something be able to fly over there. I'm sure the USGS has maybe some foot patrol that might be able to go out there and get some imagery. There's is this recent? I believe this is the most recent one. It looks like they're adding some from last night. Way out there in the distance, kind of neat. June 3rd. There's the location again of the most recent fissure activity there, away from the summit area. That's actually a pretty neat image right there. That is quite the dynamic. That's probably what, at least a 40-second exposure maybe? Doesn't really say, but D.A. Phillips took that image out there of Milky Way, and of course the glow from the Kilauea volcano. So hopefully they can get a little bit better, though. I'd like to see approximately how long this fissure is. And, you know, this area is super inflated still, even with this ongoing eruption. So we got to see here what's going to take place. Obviously, it's finding some weaker areas out here, but we still could see some further eruptive fissures open up somewhere else. We'll continue to check back on it, folks, and of course provide updates when they are needed out here on the current ongoing volcano activity. For now, enjoy the Monday. I guess. I mean, it's Monday, right? A lot of people love the Mondays. I'm not a big fan of Monday, but hey, it is what it is. Friday, literally at the end of this week, we can make it through it pretty easily. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening, unless something major happens out here. The seismograph stations right now, pretty quiet, pretty calm. Really nothing of any interest right now across any of these seismos. Have a good day, folks. We'll catch you guys back out here later.